Ahoy! Captain Benzie here, coming at you with something totally different from usual. I started a new job recently, and as part of that job I've been given a very basic laptop. It's not enough to run many modern games, in fact it can just about do Armajet and Vainglory, but it has given me the opportunity to jump back over a load of older games that I used to play as a kid. Like, as you see before you, Unreal Tournament, things like Command & Conquer Tiberian Sun, Dungeon Keeper, all these wonderful games that I used to play as a kid. So, what I wanted to do, and I'm sure you've seen me do this quite a bit recently, is I'm trying to just play around with my content, see what I enjoy making, see what you guys enjoy watching. So this is a very different video that I'm recording on PC. Because it's on PC, I'm not using my usual Razer Hammerhead ANCs, as I can't plug them into this. So the audio quality, I do apologise. I know it's a little bit lower quality than you're used to, but I hope you bear with it and I hope you do enjoy this video. What I wanted to do was essentially play some Unreal Tournament, talk to you about this wonderful game, and how it has influenced me, how it's influenced gaming, and specifically how it's influenced Armajet, which we know from the developers was heavily inspired by Unreal Tournament. You know I don't stream, and you'll probably see why as we go through this video, because as I talk and game, I tend to lose my train of thought, I tend to stammer and stutter a little bit, but please bear with me and I hope you enjoy this. Anyway, let's jump right into a deathmatch. So first of all, I wanted to talk about what Unreal Tournament actually is. So it's what I would refer to as an arena shooter. And by arena shooter, what do I mean there? Well, if you consider games like, say, Call of Duty or Battlefield, those are what I would call more realistic first-person shooters, cover-based shooters, possibly is the term that you might use for that. Very straightforward, jump from cover. Doom, on the other hand, or jumping back into the 90s when games like this was a 1999 game, were released, you'll notice that I don't take cover. And in Doom, like the new Doom, Bethesda's 2016 Doom, it's all a case of run, gun, don't worry about cover. You just dodge the bullets. They are physical projectiles usually that you can just dodge. You move fast enough that you don't worry about them. So that's an arena shooter. The idea being that it's much faster paced than cover-based shooters, perhaps less realistic, but in my opinion, more fun. So, ultimately, as I said, arena shooters were very big in the late 90s. Games like Unreal Tournament, Quake, Quake 2, Doom in the mid-90s, and even Time Splitters, which was an absolute gem of a game that I completely forgot existed until someone was talking about it recently on the Armajet subreddit. Anyway, so that's what an arena shooter is. Now, as you'll see, in this particular case, Unreal Tournament is quite a, how should we say, brutal arena shooter. It's graphically fairly gory. It's quite a dark game. The concept of this game is that after a load of like intergalactic wars, humanity's at a bit of a dark point, and they ultimately legalize what they refer to as consensual murder. Sorry, I love that Rampage voice. What they refer to as consensual murder, which allows them to create this absolute brutal blood sport. Aim of the game is therefore to be the best in the tournament. There is no storyline. Like if you play Doom 2016, the recent Bethesda Doom, there is a storyline that goes through the main campaign. What I'm doing now isn't the main campaign, but it is exactly the same as the main campaign, which is just play a bunch of arena rounds. You're in an arena, be the best. Be the best, kill everyone and win. It didn't need a crazy story. And I kind of miss that about first-person shooters. You know, I don't play many first-person shooters, for the simple fact I'm not big on them, I'm not particularly good at many of them. So it was just, you know, they're not something I overly enjoy. I like the storyline of some. So, like, give me Halo or the Killzone series, the sci-fi one specifically. But for the multiplayer, I didn't really ever touch Halo multiplayer. I didn't ever really touch the Killzone multiplayer. You know, it doesn't interest me. Unreal Tournament, however, that's always been exactly what interested me about it. Now, as a kid, I was 10 when this game was released, and you may be wondering what on earth was a 10-year-old doing playing a game this ridiculously violent. Oh, look at that neck. Yeah, what was a 10-year-old doing playing a game this ludicrously violent? And ultimately, it's a bit of a sad story, and I hope you do bear with me over it. Before we continue, don't ask why we're on a pirate ship. I am Captain Benzie, and I wholeheartedly approve of this stage. Anyway, so when I was very young, I had a very close friend called Barry. Now, Barry was a bit of a gamer. Oh, crap. Barry was a gamer like me, and he was also diagnosed with skull cancer at a very, very young age. And basically given, I think at the age of 8 years old, he was given 6 months to live. Now, Barry ultimately lived until he was 14, so completely overstepped what the doctor's estimates were. But his parents knew that his time was limited. His friends, all of us, we knew his time was limited. So they made the active decision of, well, why would we gate his content? Barry ultimately was never going to live to 18 in order to actually get to experience this kind of thing at an appropriate age. So they made the decision that if Barry wanted to try it, you know, he could try it. And so we used to watch a lot of horror films and quite gory games at a young age. And it was always cleared past our parents first, and usually followed with a talk of, do you understand why this is wrong and why this is not, you know, an acceptable thing? And hey, we all grew up absolutely fine because we had those chats with our parents. And I don't know why I'm feeling the need to justify this. Ultimately, I was an 11-year-old playing Unreal Tournament with a group of friends. So Barry was, and always has been, a very big influence on my life. I think, without going too much into it, when you have a friend die at such a young age, it kind of teaches you early on about the fleeting nature of life. Yeah, let's not go too philosophical on this one, but the point being, some of my happiest childhood memories are myself, Barry, and other friends all sitting around his PlayStation 2 in the dining room, with a really old CRT widescreen monitor, fragging each other into bloody chunks. And that's what this game is. It's brutal, bloody fun. Like, you know, I'm not going to refer to this as Mortal Kombat levels of gore, that sort of ludicrous level of gore where, like, if you've watched any of the recent Mortal Kombat 11 stuff, you'll know what I mean. It's violent. It is ludicrously violent. And did I just get a telefrag? I did. I just teleported into someone. Brilliant. You know, it's not as ludicrously over-the-top violent as that, as graphically violent. You blow each other into chunks, but there's no real swearing or... I mean, like, those chunks are as gory as this game gets. So, yeah, anyway, that's why Unreal Tournament is special to me, because it's something that I remember from my childhood. It reminds me of Barry and playing those games. In fact, the day of his funeral, we took the day off school, we went to his funeral, which was a surprisingly happy and positive affair. You know, we kind of all knew it was coming. But after the wake, we went back to Barry's house, and we sat down, all his old friends, we sat down and plugged in Unreal Tournament. And we had a frag fest. Now, looking at this game, I'm not sure how appropriate most people would take that. That here you have a very violent video game that's all about killing people, and we're playing it at a funeral. But that's how pivotal this game was to us. This was a core part of our friendship, and thus meant a lot to me early on. So yeah, that's why Unreal Tournament is special to me, and I've kind of touched on what it was as a game, but why was it special to gaming? Well, because of what it was. I mean, so back in the 90s, everything was still kind of finding its place gaming-wise. You know, Carmageddon, Doom, and Unreal Tournament, alongside Mortal Kombat, sorry, was the one I was trying to mention there, were all 90s games. And they are pretty much where the ESRB and PEGI and all these other rating systems came from. So that kind of violent video games are, you know, are ruining our children was big news in the 90s. So this game kind of became everywhere as part of that. And for me, you know, I've never followed through with that. I am not a violent person at all. I'm very much against... I struggle with confrontation. So, you know, the idea of that this game was going to make me kill someone... Anyway, I'm going on diverge. I'm missing the point entirely. So this game, it also just, it redefined a lot of stuff. And to, you know, it was fun online multiplayer. It's one of the few games I can remember actually playing online at a young age. You know, I didn't have a PC, a proper gaming PC at that point in time. In fact, the PC I had could barely run Roller Coaster Tycoon, and it was a 1 GB hard drive. Yes, that kind of shows my age a little bit, doesn't it? But there we go. I know Barry did had this on PC and on PS2. We used to do the multiplayer on PS2, split screen, but we did occasionally just sit down and do different things and like occasionally play this online. This was probably the first game I ever played online against other players, and that was fairly big back then. And you know, it possibly paved the way for multiplayer as we know it. As an arena-based shooter, was it as pivotal as Quake 2? I don't know, but it's one of the ones I think of possibly even more fondly than. Quake 2 could probably be the, you know, whereas Doom is the first proper first-person shooter, even though Wolfenstein 3D came before it. Perhaps Doom and Quake 2 were the first arena shooters when it came to the online multiplayer, or the first ones that really sort of started it. But I think Unreal Tournament was the first one that perfected it and made it what it is. And so that kind of leads on. It's been a heavily influential game. A lot of people will remember Unreal Tournament fondly. They'll remember, like me, running around with their friends and fragging people. And I know a lot of games over the years have been heavily inspired by. Now, one of these is Armajet. Oh crap, forgot I had the jump boots. One of these games, of course, Armajet. And Armajet, we know, is inspired by Unreal Tournament. It has been something the developers have been very clear on from an early time. In fact, I believe one of the developers... whoops. One of the developers I know actually used to be an Unreal Tournament professional level player. So it makes sense that Armajet would reference Unreal Tournament a lot. And of course, that's exactly what it does. So, you know, how did I get into into Armajet? Well, simply put, I used to play Vainglory. I got my Razer phone, I started playing the games that were installed on it and recommended to me by Razer. And one of those was Vainglory. And I met a guy on Vainglory called Imperium. And Imperium, he's a very good player, but he is also a shoutcaster. And he started telling me about this game called Armajet and that I should really check it out and give it a try. Didn't tell me much about it, just told me that I should give it a try. So I did. I downloaded Armajet, I installed it, and that first time I heard the whole, like, killing spree and double kills, the announcer, it immediately made me think of, well, of Unreal Tournament. That was the first thing that came to my mind. So, I don't know, straight away I picked up Armajet, and I'm suddenly remembering my childhood. I'm remembering games I used to play. I've got happy memories of me as a kid. So, I started playing Armajet, and of course, I got heavily addicted, and there's so much that references Unreal Tournament in Armajet. Even the weapon I'm using now. So its basic weapon of fire there is very reminiscent of something like the Longclaw. But its secondary, I'm sorry, I killed myself there, stupid. but that is clearly a locust. That is clearly a locust. It's a plasma ball that fires and knocks it, you know, decent range, slow moving, knocks the opponent backwards. If that isn't where the locust came from, I'll buy a hat and eat it. Live on stream. Okay, not live on stream because I don't stream. But yeah, it's, you know, the things like the pickups. Armajet is an arena shooter, and it's clearly an arena shooter that has been heavily inspired by the Unreal Tournament. The fact that I suppose you could even guess that that's where the thunderstorm comes from, though I'd suggest that the thunderstorm is more referencing the lightning gun from, is it Unreal Tournament 2003? I can't remember which one has that. But yeah, there is an Unreal Tournament with a lightning gun. This, you've got a grenade launcher and a shotgun in one. It's a flak cannon. Now in Armajet there is a weapon that fires flak projectiles. That weapon is the tremor. And there is a big part of me that thinks that, you know, this is clearly referencing the tremor. I can't remember how you open that wall now. I know it can be done, but I've forgotten how. You know, to me that's a clear reference of the tremor, and if I scroll back to, there it is, the Ripper. You've got a weapon that fires bouncing discs. Razor sharp bouncing discs, called a Ripper. Now if that's not if that's not where the Ripper from Armajet comes from, again, I will buy another hat and eat it, and I'm going to be very fat and full on my hats if I'm wrong about this. But anyway, let's go back to the flak launcher, the flak cannon being my favourite. So that's, you know, this is clearly inspiration for Armajet. And there's possibly even more that they could do with it. I mean, Armajet, we know it's only in beta at the moment. There's a lot of stuff still yet to come. New game modes, possibly new weapons. I would love to see weapons that reference the secondary fire mode here of the rocket launcher. Of course, we've got standard rocket launchers already in Armajet, like the Havoc. Okay, yeah, this one you can charge it up like this and fire off multiple rockets at once. But you can also, with secondary fire, load up a load of rockets that you then fire like grenades. You see, they bounce a long way, they deal a lot of damage, and they explode after a length of time if they're not, you know, if no one steps on them. Oop. Blew myself up again. So there, you know, possibly something that references that I could see being added, the different game modes. We've already got deathmatch in Armajet. Perhaps getting like capture the flag or domination and things like that. You know, Fuel Frenzy's beautiful. I love it as a mode. But there's more that we can do. There is definitely more that we can do. So, I don't know, there's, you know, to me there's a lot that Armajet can still take from Unreal Tournament. I would love to see some of the less obvious things, like the kill quips. You can hear in Armajet that the announcer is very referential to Unreal Tournament, but I would love Anna and Kruger and 1337. Yes, I call him 1337. I refuse to say Leet. Give them their own little voice lines where they have these little kill quips. I would love that. To me, that's always a part of the attitude of this game. And I think, if I recall, Time Splitters used to do it as well. I don't think Quake did as much, but you know, it's a part of the arena shooter, just that badass attitude. I don't know. It's something I'd like to see added. You know, let me know. Let me know what your thoughts are. Have you played Unreal Tournament yourself? You know, this is one of those games that it's old, but still so good, so much fun to play. And there is a massive online community still for this. You know, this is still an active esport with big prize pool tournaments. So, you know, there is clearly still a market for games like this, even though we don't really see them nowadays. Like, the closest thing to arena shooters we get are probably the hero shooters. Stuff like Blizzard's Overwatch, or to a certain degree, Apex Legends is a bit of a hero shooter. But, I mean, nowadays, shooters are either the hyper-realistic shooters, or, like, the Battle Royales. It's, you know, we haven't had a place for a good arena shooter for a while, to the point that Unreal Tournament 4, I don't know if they gave it an actual name, I think the name was just Unreal Tournament, got cancelled. It was a game that was in development, in open beta, people were playing it, having good fun, and then it just stopped, so the team could focus more on Fortnite. And I don't know, there's a part of me that just wants to see more arena shooters, you know? I want to see more of these games. I loved arena shooters as a kid. So the idea of having newer ones to play, you know, don't get me wrong, I'm having a whale of a time just loading up the old Unreal Tournament. You can get this on Steam, I think it's like $9, $10 on Steam. Which, wholeheartedly worth it. I actually found an online, like, free download of this one, and I'm gonna sneeze. Ugh, excuse me. I found a free download of this one, and I'm justifying that in that I do have the PC installation discs at home in the UK, but the concept of shipping out discs to Zimbabwe, where I would pay literally about $80 just in duty, not including shipping, you know, yeah, that kind of gets me. It's not gonna happen. So you can easily download this game and just have a load of fun fragging people, playing a bit of like the old school like arena shooters, and understanding where these kind of games all came from. And to me, that's important. That's important, and you should totally do it. I mean, if you're playing Armajet, you can see where all this came from. There's so much love and just fun in this game. I love it. Anyway, so if you have thoughts on like Unreal Tournament, have I brought back any memories of yours or other games similar to this? What were your favourite arena shooters as you grew up? Are you going to go and give Unreal Tournament a try? I wholeheartedly recommend that you do. What do you think? Is there anything you think that Armajet could learn from all of this? Or do you think Armajet's better off sticking to its own thing and learning from other aspects of gaming? Let me know in the comments below, or as usual, come join us on the Gaming Galleon Discord. And let me know there. Just as well, when it comes to me doing this kind of content, I've tried to keep the ads low just as I'm testing things out. So let me know if this is the kind of video you enjoy watching. I know I can't really stream because for some reason Zimbabwean internet hates Twitch. So doing little Let's Plays like this is something that I can envision myself doing more of, or just me playing while talking about a game. I don't know, let me know your thoughts about what you'd like to see me do as a stretch out of my content. Anyway, look forward to hopefully hearing about your little exploits in Unreal Tournament and Armajet. Happy sailing, and see you in the arena!